I knew I wanted to become a scientist during my undergraduate years. Early on, actually, I wanted to pursue math, but then I took a course in evolutionary bio and I never looked back. I felt at home collaborating with experts in a field that I was always really passionate about, and it just hit me all of a sudden, and here I am as a graduate student studying questions that I've always loved and been passionate about.
So I wanted to become a scientist I knew that I wanted to become a scientist when I was a kid. I got really sick, and I told my mom why I got sick, and she told me, you have developed pneumonia, and that is due to a bacteria. So after that, I wanted to know how can a tiny organism can make an individual sick. So initially, I wanted to become a physician, and to apply to med school, you need to fulfill certain research requirements. So I started doing research, and when I was doing research, I realized that, hey, this is the career path I want. I want to do research, and that's how that's when I knew I wanted to become a scientist.
I feel like me wanting to become a scientist is kind of in two parts. When I was an undergrad, I applied for a post-baccalaureate, which you can just look at as like a bridge program to grad school. And I used that experience to kind of figure out the small details of what it actually meant to be in science. And when I got to the end of that, I was like, okay, this is cool. Like, I can stay in this. And then I got into grad school. And I explained grad school to everyone as like a character building experience. And for a while, I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know, like science, being a scientist and kind of investing yourself in exploration of science is such a trying and tumultuous task to take on. And now that I'm in the tail end of my graduate studies, you know, the conversations that I'm having with my mentors and advisors are far more involved and satisfying and like interesting, and they feel like they lead me to a more meaningful direction in terms of like the science that I'm doing. And now at this phase, I feel even more invested, even more ready to embark on like a scientific career.
I knew I wanted to become a scientist in high school. I was mostly taking medical classes, or like medically based classes, and then in one of those classes we had a unit on forensic anthropology, and I thought that was cool. And so in college I majored in anthropology with pre-med kind of stuff, and then taking the anthropology classes, I had some really cool female professors, and I thought that was really nice. I thought they were cool and I wanted to do what they were doing, so I got more interested in the science of anthropology than medicine.
So I knew that I wanted to become a scientist when I was in high school. It was the summer going from 9th grade to 10th grade. And I took a summer class because even though I had loved science all my life, basically, I kind of got disinterested a little bit. And so I took a summer class. It was a summer ecology type of class where I went out and did field work. And I did that because it counted for several science credits. And so I wouldn't have to basically take any more science classes in high school. So I did that, and I loved that class so much, and I realized how passionate I was towards science, because we would go out and we did like water quality sampling, we went caving, we did a lot of field work, and I just was always asking my teacher so many different questions that I ended up doing a science project from a question that I had asked. And so from that moment I realized that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to become a scientist.
I knew I wanted to become a scientist when back in Mexico in my junior year of high school, I had my first female professor for biology class, and that really inspired me to know that I could either be a science professor or I could also do research in science. Then when I moved here to the US in my senior year of high school, I was able to jump into AP classes and take more science classes that really ignited my passion to continue in science.
So I knew I wanted to become a scientist pretty early on, which was when I was 8 years old. Going to work with my mom really solidified the fact because it gave me a foundation for an interest in the biology of the brain and the nervous system.
I didn't really know I wanted to become a scientist until I had gotten into college and was seeing scientists on a regular basis who were working on questions at the forefront of their field, trying to push the boundaries of knowledge forward. I'd always been interested in science and in the natural world, but I hadn't really seen that as a career path for myself until I was in college and seeing this happening around me. And I got involved in research when I was an undergrad, and that just sort of became the natural career path for me.